What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to AniPeeps, your go-to destination for all things anime and manga related. I'm one of your co-hosts as always, Boom. Along with me today is one of the boys, Boggs. Benny. How you feeling, my man?
I'm good. It's been a while since we had a episode dedicated to one show, so pretty excited for today's.
Yes, sir. Running too deep. I know I said I didn't have a meme today, but then I found a perfect one that might fit for this particular show that we're doing today, so I'm just gonna run it on screen right now. When you watch a
See
good
it.
anime, but with no fandom. So,
Yeah, unfortunately. I feel like it's just something that for this season didn't really pick up too many fans. I feel like most people who watch it ended up enjoying it. I know like one YouTuber I watch, Glass Reflection, he seemed to enjoy it, so
quick plug, quick plug. Yeah. I thought we should do this quickly because so it's still fresh on our mind. We both watched it. It's summer, right? Summer 2024 anime.
yeah, summer 2024.
Um, was shocked by it. It looks cutesy, wholesome, right? It was on my top three. If you haven't watched that video, go watch that. I think Boggs, you mentioned it, right? Honorable mention or something like that. But
Yeah, we definitely did talk a little bit about it, but a bit more not spoiler free one.
yeah, and I know last season there was a lot of good anime. So like you said earlier, um
Definitely kind of hidden underneath all those.
hidden gem. And of course, the show we are talking about is a little cute picture right there. But let's get to the main one. Dungeon People. I really enjoyed it. Like we previously said, Boggs semi enjoyed it. Loki hated the show in the beginning,
Oh, I
if I
did
remember
not.
correctly.
Stop putting words in my mouth, man.
But yeah, just
But
like oh, what you saying?
I was just gonna say, like, I just watched this because it was like following, I mean, pretty recently, Dungeon Meshi, and then just the cover screen looked really cute. So I gave it like 2 episodes, and I enjoyed where things were going. So that's why I
Almost.
ended up checking it out.
It's weird because like this photo in particular almost gives me like Girls Last Tour vibes, especially her
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
Clay's in
yeah.
the top left. And but then like when you actually get into animation, I'm telling you, man, Eurocamp, man, Eurocamp went
Yeah,
the other way.
after you mention it, Clay definitely has Rin
And
vibes.
like the way she talks too, I think we'll touch on a little
Hmm.
later. But a quick summary of the show, right? Dungeon People is a unique blend of fantasy, slice of life anime, and comedy. Once again, aired in summer anime 2024. You follow Clay, the master thief. She's presented left on the screen right now as she explores the dungeon in search of her missing father. However, her journey takes an unexpected turn when she is offered a job by the dungeon caretaker, who is Belle, which you can see on screen on the right, which is one of my favorite characters, leading to her to learn the ins and outs of managing and running a dungeon. Which it's a twist, right, from episode one. You think
Yeah.
dungeons are just something you explore, but it's like an actual job, right? Even
Hmm.
the you can see the worker. I think it's the golems, right? If I do remember correctly.
Yeah, correct.
You see all them basically working in the dungeon, which I think it's funny, man. It's a cool little twist. Something I didn't expect for sure.
Yeah. And I guess before we move forward, I mean, kind of alluded to it, but we will be diving into spoilers. So if you haven't watched the show or do plan on watching the show, make sure you check out the show before continuing. Not to say there's really too much to spoil in this series.
Yeah,
It's fairly episodic, but some scenes do get a bit, I guess, intense slash serious.
yeah. I mean, this one I feel like you can. It's like it's not one of those ones where you can just like there's some shows you can just put on whenever and you don't have to really
Yeah.
focus. This is kind of like
Hmm.
that because the art's like simple, but like for me, man, it was a treat, man. I even binged a couple episodes last night, just rewatching it. Really,
Some
really
of the
enjoyed it.
animation was surprisingly good for how, I guess, cutesy,
Like the
you know.
fight scenes, right? Like how she moves, like
Hmm.
like when
Yeah.
she turns it on. Um,
So yeah. So I guess unless you had something you wanted to talk about it specifically.
no, no, no. Well, I think the main plot, I think just what's
Yeah.
Clay ventures into the dangerous dungeon and try to find her
Yeah.
missing father. That's like what she's trying to do, right? But
Yeah. Because to your point of kind of like like a twist in regards to where the show's going. I guess the name Dungeon People doesn't really give you too much insight into what it's about besides people in dungeons.
Hmm.
But yeah, you said like episode 1, Clay's been pretty much trained to be like an absolute beast by her dad, who's gone missing for years at this point. And so Clay ends up going solo queuing the dungeon. She makes it to, I think, level 9, the ninth floor,
I
and
think
10th floor is like the final floor, right?
yeah, I think she didn't she made it to ninth. Like she just finished eighth. Like she didn't
Yeah, and
like
then she goes down to ninth, right?
yeah, it's not like she didn't like finish nine though, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. When she met
Yeah,
not Clay Bell.
yeah, and then she fights the Minotaur, which I think was the floor dungeon. She accidentally breaks the walls. The monster speaks. It's like, wait, what? Monsters speak? And then they kind of talk, and then we finally get to meet Belle. And I think the episode ends, if I remember correctly, with Belle saying, uh, "Battle me," or maybe that happened in episode 1 as well. But pretty much, she has to battle Belle, challenge Belle, which is the dungeon master. And if Belle wins, then Clay has to work under her. And
Yep.
lo and behold, Belle wins, and now Clay is a employee at the dungeon.
And then you it's like I I wish it could continue. I wish this was kind of like a longer season because like there's no end to it, you know. Like you can
Hmm.
just keep doing these weird tasks. Like what was there was one like refilling the treasure chest, right? And they were just making weird things. And
Yeah, and without having the adventurers to spot Clay, and Clay's super
yeah,
agile, so
yeah.
she's like hopping around, refilling the chests, and all
And
that good stuff.
and then I know we both said it, but she is like a badass. Clay is like top tier, you know.
Yeah, yeah, she's a beast.
And then before like you said, what was it? She finished eight by herself too. It wasn't with like a crew or
Hmm.
anything like that. She did solo dolo
And
until
that's
she.
what also impressed Belle. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're good. Like, you solo queue this far, and also to Belle's, like Clay, you kind of get like some minor background with her about. Um, I guess we could use this talk about some of the characters now, but
Mm-hmm.
Clay, we immediately get introduced to her training. Her dad tells her like you got to be able to maintain this pace for hours, kind of thing. So we know she's a beast, and uh, even like Clay's drawn super cute, but Belle's even drawn even more cutesy with her voice too. She definitely like judging her based off looks
She looks like a
and
kid, you know.
personality. Yeah, she seems weak, but she's like OP. She absolutely dominates Clay. And then yeah, that's kind of when they fight, the animation kind of went hard when Belle or when yeah, Belle does some I don't know what the move was, but like the ceiling was like caving in on her or something like that. That looked
Mm-hmm.
really cool, but Clay pretty much didn't stand a chance.
And she's like a what is it? Not a magician. What is it? Magic user.
Yeah, like a mage.
Yeah, man. Gosh, yeah. I said magician,
Hey, that works. That works.
man. But yeah, dude, and my favorite interactions they were like, I believe it was like a skeleton boss, and then is when Clay, Belle transformed
Replaced.
Clay into like not her form. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
she looked like I forgot what, like she was like a skeleton. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And one of her jobs was to fight incoming what adventurers, right?
Hmm.
And the boss of that crew wanted to he thought he should have been higher level, but then he just seen how Clay was just so OP.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
No, and then I think that she came across the adventures that came through a few times, right? Was it those guys?
yep.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
I think the leader of that one started to notice like Clay's even though like a weakling skeleton, she was doing too
Yeah,
OP moves, man.
yeah. And
And
then I mean, aside from those two characters, right? The only other main one we talked about, at least off air and maybe for our summer 2024 video was Rangard, who's pretty much the main dungeon maintainer, I guess. One of the dungeon employee
yep.
that interacts at least with Clay and Bell a lot.
He's the one,
So
like, cause Belle was I think you touched on it a little bit, but she was very lonely. That's why she wanted Clay to work with her, right? But
mhm.
Belle's almost like childish, you know. Like there's no order if
Yeah.
she was the one. So you're gonna have to say that name again because I'm gonna butcher it. But he's shown half his face on screen right now. He's the one that really
Mhm.
keeps order and makes sure is like when I talked about treasure chest that Belle's not just making weird weird loot, you know. It
Yeah,
has to be
yeah.
a certain way, and
It's
he
kind of
makes
where their
sure.
personality shines too, right? Because
Mm-hmm,
he kind of maintains most of the stuff. Especially he seems to be the person that's generally controlling the golems, which we saw earlier, who do a lot of like the nitpicky detail work in the dungeon. And then Belle's obviously the boss, but she is pretty hands-on. And then throughout the series, we get to see Clay kind of diving into a bunch of different tasks while learning from both Bell and Rangard. But yeah, aside from those three, not many, I guess, prominent characters. There are like a few slightly recurring ones. We get like the goblins, and we talked about the party members. But
mm-hmm.
I think the main kind of appeal for me, at least, and I'm pretty sure you too, for the show, aside from kind of like the plot, was our two main characters.
Yeah.
Just kind of how you touch on, uh, like Clay did hire her, or sorry, Belle did hire Clay for uh help in the dungeon, but she actually really wanted a friend too. And Clay being like a solo queue, she knows that Clay doesn't really have any friends, and that's where kind of the slice of life kind of uh cute girls doing cute things kind of as element kind of gets in there, where they both are kind of doing their job, but their friendship kind of grows throughout the series, which for me was a joy to see.
Yeah, and you also like see like I know you're talking about characters right now. You sometimes like the flashbacks mostly of the dad, you know. You just see
Hmm.
how Chad he is too, man.
Yeah.
And like
Well, hopefully we get a season 2 to see a bit more about him.
cause what was it like? He gave her that little knife sword thingy, and
Hmm.
that could only be like was it made or like can only be advanced
It's like, yeah, it's like a pretty rare item.
after the ninth floor or something like that, right? I think it was. I
Something
forget.
like that. It's like after a certain floor kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. You just know he's he's dope. And then I know I'm gonna butcher. Like, do you remember when Clay and Belle went back to like the human world and they were
Mm,
like they went to that certain like
like
shop,
they talked about like
like they were
the
selling something back to
the
them or something like
guilds.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guild, and then they gave Clay the news like still nothing from your dad, so that's a good thing or something like that.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah,
was
because he hasn't been, his body hasn't been found out
yeah,
at
yeah,
the very least. So
and
still positive.
you can see Clay like she's so hype and happy about that, you know.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you
Yeah.
get so immersed into like the dungeon roles and like the job recruiting when they're trying to recruit monsters, you know, you kind of forget about it. But
Yeah, and kind of to segue with that, because that is pretty much the main premise of the show, and
mm-hmm,
that's kind of what kept me watching, uh, because it was pretty interesting to watch. We get a lot of like dungeon type isekai, or just normal fantasy dungeon type series, but kind of like Dungeon Meshi, where their twist was a bit more focused on the cooking aspect. At least the first half made it very fun for me to watch. This one, it was pretty interesting watching how the dungeon master kind of maintains the dungeon. Some stuff you don't really think about, like I know we kind of touch on like replacing the loot in the treasure chest, but so much more, like you said, employing
mm-hmm,
at least high ranked monsters. Even like very early on, they were kind of introducing like the magic gems, where we know that when you kill a monster, they drop a gem,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
turns out that gem is used to place in the soul for at least a higher level people, so that when they get slain by the adventurers, they don't die and they kind of just return
yep,
you know so I thought that aspect was interesting. I thought it was super funny how they were farming goblins. That was like super like random. It's funny like how they're kind of in the crouch position when they unroot them kind of thing. Uh, and just watching a bunch of like the not goblins, golems do kind of like the minute tasks too.
And
Just
they
all like the little
like
details.
this, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
what was the guy's name again? Boggs, the
Rangard.
yeah, like I like how he like knows all their names, you know?
Yeah,
They all look
yeah.
the same. Like slight comedy like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, like even if they're like what was it, skeletons, got all those dungeon creatures, they're all just normal people just working their jobs, you know? They
Yeah.
just have their side conversations and stuff, man. It's hilarious, man.
No, I thought like if that kind of aspect, I guess for this it's directed a bit more towards those who have watched it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure if you stuck around and finished all 12 episodes, for the most part, you probably were entertained by, the maintaining dungeon kind of aspect of it. I really did kind of enjoy kind of the hiring aspect of it. I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
like a really interesting one, and um also kind of like deceivingly uh I guess gory for what you would expect from this show. Someone like the few battles where Belle or Clay kind of go ham, it does get like pretty brutal.
Yeah, I think one of the examples when Clay, I think, fought like the level 9 boss or level 9 creature, like level 9 creature or something like that. Do you remember they just called it even, but they
Oh
both.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
it looked like she lost the arm. I forget if she lost an arm or it was just bloody. But even
It
that
was like
point,
not fake battle, but like a trial battle kind of
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah. It was
Yeah.
you see like Clay like think this even though she's been working the dungeon for a while, you think this because she's going up in levels, so they just want to fight. Like I think the monster was like at the end was like, I don't like getting hurt, and it just disappeared. So
Yeah,
Clay's like,
yeah. Just
oh
like retreated.
yeah, oh like she it kind of shook her, you know.
Yeah. And I think another example of it was, you know, when they were hiring some monsters for uh employment, one of the person who kind of submitted their resume to become hired, a different person kind of got summoned and appeared in front of them, and he was kind of a violent guy, kind of threatening Clay and Bell,
Mm-hmm.
and like they just kill him. And there was one more towards the end of the series, uh where I think it was like three people. It was the three people who kind of charming on the outside. They would recruit random individual adventurers, and then trap them in the boss room, because the boss room, until the battle's over, no one can enter or exit.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of kill the adventurer that they kind of lured. So they're pretty despicable people, and then Clay or yeah, Belle summons them into kind of like that room that she summons people into, where it's kind of white, and she just absolutely destroys one.
Marks them.
Clay destroys the other, and then I think one of the guy was running away, and Belle did like some deadly ass beam and killed that guy too. But
Mm-hmm.
super violent at times, which I mean, not super violent, but surprisingly violent at times, which I thought made it good.
Also,
It was a good touch
if you
to it.
really think about it, it's kind of messed up because you know the adventurers, like some of them die in the dungeon.
Hmm.
But even if they kill like the monster, the monster's gonna revive. You know,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
it's kind of messed up if you think about it. But I know we've been talking about how much we like the show. Did you notice any like negative points in the show? Because I think I noticed two main ones, but that might.
Mm, I mean, at
I
least for
think you
me, there
touched on
wasn't
them.
any. Yeah, for me, there wasn't anything that like really stood out that at least deterred me from the series.
I guess
I
more
feel like
so.
this.
I'm sorry. You
Oh,
can
go
go.
ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna
No, no,
say
go ahead, go ahead.
not that you don't like, but I was gonna say some things that I would think because I really like the show. Right, it was in my top three of
Hmm.
last season, but I could see why some people won't get into this show. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
feel
Mo.
like if you're yeah, I feel like if you're looking for if you're really kind of focused on the adventure perspective, you know,
Hmm.
like a lot of other shows and more of like the action part of it. Not to say this didn't really have action, but it definitely wasn't a focus, you know. So
Yeah.
I feel like if that's your thing, then this might not be for you. As well as, you know, like I guess the more slice of life element to it, I think is a big
Because it's more
reason why
laid
at least
back too,
both of
you
us
know.
yeah, exactly. So definitely like a more laid back show. Um, but even if you're not a big fan of like the laid back kind of slice of life part of things, if you are kind of if you found interest in how the dungeon operates behind the scenes, then I feel like it's a show you could still enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
Like even the little things where the the golems are kind of taking off pieces from the slimes while replacing it. Thought that
Hmm.
was pretty cool and uh I'm not
It's a different
I
take on
actually like
dungeons. I think you said it earlier too.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If you like Dungeon
So,
Meshi, just give this a try. You know, it's close enough. Not
yeah,
not,
it's
not too
definitely like
close,
a
but a
good
different.
twist.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
like a
then
twist on kind of the dungeon theme.
what I would say, like for some people maybe that wouldn't like this one, like you said, the slice of life. So it's more. Sometimes it gets repetitive, you know, because it's always
Mhm.
like, what's the next dungeon management? I liked it a lot, but you know, like what's the next
Yeah.
job they're gonna follow, or maybe it's been one season. We don't know that much about Belle backstory wise too. I can see some
Yeah.
people, but I don't mind it. I like the pacing of the show, but and then I
Mhm.
think you touched on it super early on in this episode. When we're talking about character, there's really only Belle and Clay. Hopefully, there's more like characters that viewers would like too. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
like for a show to be good, there's got to be like a good.
a lot.
You know what I mean? Even for a
Yeah,
slice
that's
of
a good
life,
point.
it's
Mhm.
like, but I really do like these two characters, but like they're not my favorites, you know.
Yeah. Which honestly, to your point, I don't really see that happening, you know.
It's
I'm
hard
pretty
because there's
sure
no
the
villain, you know what I mean? So they
yeah,
can't be
yeah.
unless there's some crazy twist.
Yeah, like a super OP person. But you know, the main focus is the two girls with
Yeah.
Vanguard kind of as a strong supporting character. And like we talked about earlier, you know, we still got a lot to learn in regards to Belle's backstory
Hmm.
as well as Clay's father's whereabouts. So,
Dude, look at
uh,
that and tell me that's not written, dude.
yeah, I
Please.
mean, it is. Just kind of
Tone of voice
hi-
too. Same
hide the
voice
kind of side
actor.
of the hair. Also, I could see how despite like I do like the character designs, but I will also say it's like pretty bland, you know. uh so
I like me personally. I get what you're saying. I like that.
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
kind of I'm not this is not like Girls Last Story. The cover image
it
was, but like
mhm.
I don't know.
It's still the eyes are still pretty similar, you know. It's
Yeah,
like a
but the
uh
color is kind of like Dungeon Meshy. Maybe because it's just Dungeon. It's hard to say the background, but
yeah,
I don't know what I
but no,
would.
I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it's definitely there's no like realistic. You know what I mean? It's like cartoon,
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
or anime, but I really like that. Oh
It's
man,
still like a cute show too, you know.
yeah. I mean, I think I rated it a 9 or excuse me 8 on Mal. I'm checking right. Yep, 8. But give it a
Yeah,
watch,
no.
man. This is gonna be a hard push to give Mo, but
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I doubt he'll like it, so I don't even know if it's really worth
I think
pushing.
yeah, slice of life is it like the
Not
main
his
is it the main
wheelhouse.
genre of slice of life too? I think it is a
For this,
yeah. It wouldn't be
yeah.
adventure, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say adventure because our main protagonists are more, you know, on behind the scenes kind of maintaining. I
Yeah.
would say this is like a like funnily enough, this is kind of like a workplace
I mean, it would fit. Just
theme.
this the
Yeah.
work is dungeon, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Uh, I'm
But I
curious
mean,
what to do on season 2. Uh,
yeah.
because
Hopefully we do get an announcement.
if there is a season 2, there's gotta be more. You know, there's gotta be because it can't be like the same as season 1 because we already know most of the jobs and stuff like that. You could add a couple more, but there's got
Yeah,
to be something developing. Like she's gonna get closer to the dad or more backstory about Belle.
yeah, it probably would be a bit more focus on because the foundation has been built already, you know, and they could probably squeeze in a few episodes with different kind of jobs they have to do, but I feel like they at least touch up on all the major ones. Uh, not to say that I wouldn't be interested in
Yeah,
pretty much the same thing,
I was
watching
about to say
12
I
more
can't lie.
episodes of it.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah,
say I can't lie. I'll still watch it though.
yeah. So
Sucker for this type of show and the way it's animated, man. I really do like it. It's
no, it's
cute,
nice,
fun, wholesome, man. Come on, man.
but no, I agree.
Nah,
But yeah, like this one, there's just there's not too much to talk about. You know, it's
it's hard. It's hard.
because it's like episodic. You know, the main back like I guess the main plot is Clay finding the whereabouts about her dad and
Hmm.
the building relationship between Belle and Clay. So, uh, I mean, if you didn't watch it and if you're still watching, if anything we said interested you, definitely go check this out. Nice and relaxing, so like Boom
Hmm.
mentioned. But again, like I know we talked about spoilers, but nothing too
Not
much
too
to
much. Yeah.
spoil.
I would say
Um,
the first episode actually does a really good job. You could almost all just watch this first episode and know if you like it or not too, because it
yeah,
gives
I
you
agree.
that final battle. I think they battle. Like I think you might have said it. I think Belle and Clay might have battled, or it was like Belle saying let's fight, and then she gave like
Yeah, I
I don't
forget where it ended,
yeah, but
but
one or two
I would
you
actually,
should know it.
yeah, maybe watch two so you get to see maybe
Yeah.
some of Clay's first job.
Oh
So
yeah, that is true, and you get more comedy too. Ah, I guess the
mhm.
Centaur is low key funny too.
Yeah,
As soon as he
starts
talked, he was
talking
like,
out of
"Oh no,
nowhere.
I'm gonna get fired."
Yeah,
Oh,
but
also, Boggs, I wanted to tell you this before we wrap it up too. Belle looks like she's gonna have like the saddest backstory. You know what I mean?
yeah, because I mean, she has to have a reason of being that OP. Only really backstory we have of her is her talking about the old dungeon master
Mm-hmm.
and how he kind of ran the dungeon. But aside
Yeah.
from that, she's pretty much a mystery. So,
I just have a feeling because this type of animation, almost made in Abyss, where it looks
mhm.
cute but might be dark, man.
It's a Made in Abyss, but super, super easy mode.
Yeah, I bet it's true. Way too easy. Wait, do they go down or up in this dungeon? Down, right?
They
I'm
go
just
down.
gonna. Oh, it might be. It might be in the same universe, my man.
Maybe.
But anything else you want to add? I think you summed it up right before I mentioned the bell stuff, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Fun one,
I don't really have much to add,
good one.
but
I'm glad I watched it too. Glad
yeah.
glad both of us watched it so we can actually do an episode about this show as well.
hmm I think main reason why we kind of want to talk about this and get this video out is because I know both Boom and I talked off air about how uh this is probably a show not too many people watch, so
Hmm.
definitely do want to give it its respect and uh give people to at least give this show a shot. So
To push for that season two,
yeah, doing everything we can.
so it doesn't. Not too many more of these.
I know. Hopefully.
But yeah, if you haven't already, please go check out the Anime 2024 review that we did as well. We talked about other shows, and hopefully we do a maybe next episode about Days with My Stepsister as well. Another show that I know me and
hmm
Boggs both enjoyed. But thank you for listening. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and tell us if you watch Dungeon People or if you plan on watching it. Other than that, peace out.
Peace.